Snooper Thursday! Woo! And we're down in San Diego, where we love to be, and we're at Churchill's. Churchill's is a pub.
Churchill's English pub, yes.
English pub. And it's phenomenal. I love it here. I've been in here just for a few minutes, and I love the decor that you have in here. And but beyond all that is the tap list that's just freaking amazing.
The tap list and the bottle list, which just totally surpasses the tap list.
Yeah. Well, we just increased our tap list. We had 20 beers on draft before our big renovation, and we kind of split between craft beer bar and straight English pub. So we had a lot of traditional. You have the Guinness, the Smithwick's, the Bass, and I love craft beer. So it's like I saved that other half of the beer list for rotational craft beers, and there was about approximately 10 beers I could rotate it in, which is nice, but it's not as much as I wanted to. So I built up this crazy bottle list, because I have a ton of storage space there, which is great.
Yeah.
So for all the great Belgians and stuff that I couldn't necessarily put on rotate on draft fast enough, I built this 200 plus bottle list. I'm kind of obsessive compulsive collecting, so it's one of those things. It's one of those things. You get this great opportunity. You get this crazy Cantillon that comes around once every couple of years. It's take as much as I can, and I'll throw it.
This is the first place I've actually had a Cantillon beer. So, but I'm getting the same way with beer. I'm like obsessively shopping in the store, looking for the newest thing that's coming out or some like rarity that I'll see, and I'm getting the same way. I've got
Although I don't think
6
we have
boxes.
the same kind of storage that you
do. Nowhere near you, but
we're here with Ivan. Ivan's the proprietor and the owner. I want to get that out before we get too deep into the show. Got to make sure we give some love to Ivan.
Thank you.
He was nice enough to let us come in and invade his space in the evening, which is generally a busy time. And if you can hear all the background noise there, we had to kick everybody out of this area, but whatever.
This is arguably the oldest English pub in San Diego.
Oh, really?
So it's an old converted farmhouse, believe it or not, which makes it very authentic.
Exactly.
Okay,
So,
that does give that theme off.
But it does have like residential grade plumbing and all that great stuff, which is all the other fun stuff of having like a converted converted house. We've been pretty well established in the craft beer community for the last 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
We're on the 78, which is the corridor of great beer up here. With Stone, Port, Lost Abbey, Green Flash, and it's.
There's a Twitter thing that goes on every Sunday where everybody's like, oh, I'm going over to church, and then after that I'm going to Sunday school. And so it's kind of the geek speak for that. You're going to Churchill's and then off over to Lost Abbey's tap room. So.
Where'd you get the name Churchill's anyway?
I originally had a bunch of partners, and I've always loved pubs. Pubs are always. I've never been the big club bar scene guy. I'd love to go with my buddies to a nice Irish or English pub and just relax on a good pint and talk hang out. And so we bought this place, and we were all we had an English guy, we had an Irish guy, another American guy. We were throwing around names. We're going to do it was between like an authentic name, like the Toad in the Bucket or something.
Toad in the Bucket. That's awesome.
And we were just throwing around names, and Winston Churchill's such a great figure in history that we just said, hey, it's what a great
So I take it that's what
and that gives you the logo and all that stuff.
The logo is a Churchill silhouette, or is a silhouette of Churchill smoking a cigar.
It's a great logo. You immediately look at it, oh, that's Winston Churchill. Sweet.
Well, one of the things I really like about this place is that you know immediately who works here because they walk around in shirts that say beer facilitator. And you can get a shirt that says beer receptacle, and that's excellent. I love that. I've always loved that about this place. And, speaking of shirts, I'm wearing one that says Churchill's Renaissance 2010, which no one else has ever seen before.
No, this is the unveiling, really.
So what exactly is the Renaissance?
Well, we thought it's a long story on how I put the whole draft of stuff, but it happened to do with like a catastrophic pipe break in my bar, which I had to the actual bar area I had to actually demolish and pull everything out. We had to get it done. There was a pipe leak underneath the subfloor, so we had to move it on, and it was one of those things where it was like a blank canvas, and I said, hey, if it's like this, I'm going to build it back the way I want it.
Let's take lemons and make some lemonade,
Yes, so
Exactly.
it took a lot longer than I expected, a lot more expensive than I expected, but that's another story.
That's how things usually go.
As it always is. But we said, I'm kind of, like I said, it's go big or go home. So we said, I dropped a big container in back, refrigerated it, and we put 50 beers on draft. And it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Having this many drafts, you can play with a lot of different things. You can do event. The Renaissance, where there was coming back full circle, is kind of like it's kind of like an enlightening, of Churchill's. I'm bringing us to the next level in the craft, as a craft beer bar.
Right.
I want to keep the bottle list, but it's too big to have when you have this many drafts. So I'm always rotating. I'm still keeping the traditional English and Irish stuff, but I have 40 other handles to work with. And I really don't have any set handles. They're all rotating. And there's so much fun stuff. The craft beer market in San Diego is obviously very strong, but it's like the amount of great beer that you can get now versus 5 years ago. It's exponential. It's a lot more.
Right.
So I can honestly filling 50 taps. 6 years ago, it's tough to have great beer on all of them. And now it's great. There's more beer out there, great beer than I can pour, and it's great for all of us as a consumer. But it's fun for me. I get to archive all this great stuff. And we're gonna do Sour Fest and Imperial Stout Fest, and like I said, the Renaissance.
For the beer that we have today, it's got your label on it, but you're not a brewery. So what's that about?
We're not a brewery. This came out as one of those things where we've been very good friends with Port and Lost Abbey, Tommy Arthur and all, and they're a stone's throw from here, no pun intended, but it's they're in Stone's Old Brewery, which is a mile and a half away from here, up the road. So I was when they first opened up over there, I'd hang out. We developed a great relationship over there, and we are the closest non-brewery beer bar to Port Lost Abbey. So we struck up a great friendship and could kind of take it to on a tangent, where we also have a hard alcohol license. For the last couple years, I've bought full single barrels of Jack Daniels. And what they do is they fly a master taster out here every year, and we do a big beer dinner.
Oh, really?
And so there's a couple barrels sitting around the pub that were it was all bottled with my name on it, with the Churchill's Pub and Grill single barrel select Jack Daniels, and I convinced them to send me a bunch of used barrels that were not lacquered. So once they lacquer them, make them all pretty, put plaques on it, which makes them useless to put beer in.
Right.
So they said, because they love, that's a huge marketing thing from them. They have nice budgets for it, so they sent me out a bunch of barrels.
Really?
And so I passed them out around town. I gave one to Adam Carbonell, who's president of the San Diego Brewers Guild. I gave a couple to Lost Abbey, and he said, "Hey, let's do something with it." And that was about a year and a half ago. And they put some Imperial Stout, a couple, which I don't know if I want to say the secret blend of Imperial Stout, but it was two different stouts. They threw in. I gave them 2 barrels, and then they aged in those Jack Daniels barrels for about a year. And then they blended them. So it was funny, at our Jack Daniels dinner, wasn't funny, but at our Jack Daniels dinner, we had each component. So we had both on draft, so you could taste the difference. One was really whiskey, had very strong whiskey character to it. The other was more chocolatey. Still had the whiskey flavor, but not as strong. Blended, the combination was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
A ton of chocolate, lots of vanilla. I love it. I haven't met, anyone that hates it.
Exactly.
Whiskey barrel aged.
Yeah, exactly. They're kind of become the staple. Everybody loves them.
But Tommy went all out. We designed this great label. It incorporates our logo. I thought Churchill's Finest Hour, that comes from a great speech of Churchill's. Winston Churchill's, and it's simple, it's plain, it's a linen label, has some gold foil. I just like simple design.
You wax the bottles yourself.
Yeah, they've never done a wax, as far as I know. Porter Lost Abbey hasn't waxed bottles. I said, what the hey, let's give another special touch.
So how many bottles of these do you have?
We have approximately 30 cases of it, and we have a 5 gallon we're tapping on our Churchill's Renaissance on Saturday, on the 6th, on March 6th. But it's been all bottled, and I'm going to sell. I've allotted about half of that to be sold to go. And then everything else has to be.
Now, our viewers will be seeing this a few days after the Renaissance. So, what are the odds that they'll be able to come down here and buy a bottle of this?
Very good, I think. Because I said I'm not selling it all. I'm selling some, and I have for every rare beer I have here that it's to prevent the eBayization of these beers. I say, look, you can't buy this to go. Because I don't charge market value for. I charge my normal markup for certain beers that I know you could get 2 or 3 times for on eBay, and I said, look, I want it to be enjoyed here. I don't want it to be, put on eBay, and just makes it easy. And
That's
so
excellent. That's excellent.
So it's
let's try it.
So
I'm staring at this thing for too long.
You see the label over here already, but.
Very excited about this.
That looks really good.
Yeah.
Right now.
I'm really excited.
So when they blend
having
the
heard
beers,
the secret
do they age it after that
ingredients.
blending, or just blend and then bottle?
No, they blended it after it was aged in the barrel. So it aged. The components aged in the barrels individually for a year, and then they blended it before they bottled it and tagged it.
So were they aged at different rates, or both aged for a year?
They were aged same rates. So.
Oh,
So
it's got a great nose on it. Oh.
Oh man.
Wow.
It's so chocolatey. It's just
It's got that nice balance between the
Yeah.
burn and the chocolate. That's
So, how many people have actually drank this?
Oh, I'm gonna say it's less than half a dozen. I got a bottle to try once they cracked it. I mean, I just received the bottles about a week ago, and we was over there while we were waiting to finish dipping them all, and then we brought them over. I've not been I'm very disciplined that way. I've not been sitting there in the back office getting hammered every night on my beer. But
You
it's
are
just,
not beer.
I'd love to do it, but it's.
I think knowing the ingredients myself, I think that if you are familiar with the brewery, I think you might be able to pick out the components because you get a flavor of both beers in there. But the way they blend really well together.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
This is smooth.
I was tasting the individual components. I was surprised how well. I mean, I definitely think the blend is better than the individual components.
Yeah, exactly. The sum is greater than the
Oh, definitely.
So
Definitely, and it's I'm a big fan of bourbon or whiskey barrel aged stouts, but I'm also I don't like when they're overpowering whiskey because I think
Neither
they
do
really
I.
kill the base beer.
Yeah.
It's like they overpower the base beer, and
I feel like they're doing chaser shots with it.
yeah, they start to kind of homogenize. I mean, they start to all taste the same once you get to a certain whiskey level of flavor, and it's this is a nice blend where it doesn't. You taste the bourbon, you get the vanilla notes, and it's not super hot. I mean, which is great sitting in the barrel.
Yeah, when they're really hot whiskey beers, it's almost like this. It's just too much. I'm not
when you get that
enjoying it.
alcohol burn on your
I'm
lips.
really fighting this beer instead of enjoying it. So this is a really nice balance between that chocolate and the burn.
I was really excited. No, I mean, again, thank you very much to Tommy Arthur who allowed us to do this. And
yeah,
which is great.
having
And
Tommy Arthur
he's
participate.
a whiz too. So when
That's
it comes to
awesome.
brewing, I mean,
You
it's-
can throw crap in a beer,
Exactly.
it'll turn out great.
Exactly.
So what
Now,
kind of cheese?
Well, we're gonna
do we
actually
have here?
during the Renaissance, you're gonna be pairing this with meats, right?
Correct. We're putting a huge commercial Traeger smoker out front. We're
Okay.
putting a whole pig in there and a bunch of
Oh my
turkey
God.
legs, and it's gonna be smoked.
So it's a vegetarian's nightmare.
I call the vegetarian apocalypse. Yeah.
That's excellent.
So we're actually we're good friends with it's over by Lost Abbey as well. A great old school butcher that have all these great smokers, and they're actually going to start it the day before, and we're going to wheel it over and continue smoking it all day and serving it to people. But yeah, any like super smoke type meat would go great with this sort of thing.
Yeah, totally.
So.
Well, this is our first week that we're bringing in our segment for Dr. Bill. Dr. Bill does our master pairings for us, and he is going into the archive of our very own show and pulling out a beer that we did not pair very well. And as a result, Brad questioned the pairing, and we had to beat him down a little bit. Perhaps you remember.
They had to pair my face with their fists.
Yes. First rule of New Brew Thursday is that you do not question the food pairings.
Okay, we're here with another Master Pairings with Dr. Bill, and today we're trying the AleSmith Speedway Stout. And what are we pairing it with?
Well, stouts are great for a lot of pairings. Obviously, you can use them for desserts. They work really well. So I have a very decadent gourmet chocolate cupcake,
Right.
called the Ultimate Cupcake, for us to try.
Yeah, generally when I do the dark stouts, at least lately, that's my first thought is to pair it with a dessert. But there's cheese on this.
Yeah, there is cheese. They go with different things. And this is a big beer. This is a 12% beer brewed by AleSmith Brewing out of San Diego. And they actually roast their own Ryan Brothers coffee beans and add them to the mix. So it has not only a nice big chocolatey note, but also a coffee note. But what stouts pair really well with are blue cheeses. Blue cheeses are big, aggressive cheeses in the cheese world. And they're the bullies on the block, kind of. And so they pair really well with stouts. Stouts hold up to them. And so I have two cheeses here. I have a Point Reyes Blue from California. It's fabulous. It's got a little tanginess, nice salt mix. It's just wonderful. And then I have a Blue de Averine. I may have butchered the Averine. Sorry, guys, you Francophiles. And it's a great blue with a nice stinky rind to it. but it's really creamy and subtle for a blue, and there's the salinity level is a little lower.
Cool.
So I think you should try the beer first. Take your 3 sips so you can get your palate acclimatized to it, or acclimated.
Yeah.
Coffee, huge coffee. Big, bold flavors.
It's a great beer.
Will the food hold up to it?
Well, I was smelling
not
a
delicious.
cupcake earlier, and I think it will because it smells very rich.
By the way, I'm serving this cellar temperature, 68 degrees. It's not seen a refrigerator. And how do you like it like that?
It tastes really good. Yeah.
Big beers, great beers. They don't have to be ice cold. Even though the French like to do cheese for dessert, we're going to start with the cheese and go into the chocolate.
Cool, because
okay?
I wanted to start with the cheese.
So help yourself. Why don't you try that one, and I'll try this one, then we'll flip-flop.
Okey-doke. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, what is the blue in the blue cheese?
The blue cheese are various strains of penicillium. What they do is they add that in, and then they take steel needles and drive them through the wheel of cheese and let the oxygen get in, and then the blue will go down the shafts and it will come through the cheese. If you cut a big piece of blue cheese the right way, you'll see all the tracks going in from the needling, and then the oxygen follows through and the penicillin tracks through it. This is penicillin Roqueforti. You can think about Roquefort cheese. I'm not sure what the name of this one is, but it's a milder form. And so you'll pick that up, I think, in the flavor profile.
That's really strong.
It's always good when you're pairing and trying things to let it coat your tongue and your palate, so that when you try the beer or whatever else you're trying with it, you can really pick up the true flavor. So for mine, there's this creaminess, this saltiness. But when I try this beer, the coffee notes are downplayed. I get more of a roasted malt flavor. I get more chocolate coming through. What are you getting on yours? And then when I flip-flop, we'll see if you're right.
Oh, well. The coffee is definitely pretty much gone. This cheese is really strong. I can still taste the cheese on my tongue.
Okay.
As far as chocolate, I don't really taste the chocolate. The cheese is very, very strong. Okay. And this is a really, as far as your palate goes, I think this is a really strong beer in and of itself.
Right.
And this cheese, I think, overpowers it. This one, on the one I tried. So,
let's see.
Yeah.
You try that.
See if I'm right.
I will try this. Well, the beauty of it is when you're tasting things, everybody's always right, because it's whatever your palate, your flavor profile, your experience, whatever you enjoy tells you. Don't let somebody tell you, oh, the AleSmith Speedway Stout is the best Speedway Stout or the best stout in the world, if you don't like a big 12% coffee stout. If your beer stout of choice is Guinness, don't let anybody browbeat you into thinking that AleSmith is that much better. Enjoy your Guinness.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it.
Right away, I'm picking up with the Reyes. Huge, tangy saltiness. It's really big. It almost feels like it's burning my tongue.
Yeah, exactly.
It's extreme. And it's ripe. It's ripened perfectly. It's not overly old. There's no ammonia characteristics. But it's just a big cheese. Sorry.
Do you think the first one's more flavorful than the second that you tried?
Is this more flavorful?
Yeah.
I think this is more sophisticated.
Okay. Yeah, it still deadens the coffee for me.
Which is okay, which you want. You want to
Yeah.
be, are you picking up any chocolate notes with
Yeah,
this?
I am now.
Good.
It's not-
That's a wonderful pairing.
It's not as powerful as this cheese. This cheese, I think, is too big.
This cheese is aggressive. I don't know. I like it with this still. When you try the Imperial Stout, it's almost like a poultice on your tongue from the burns that you've received from this cheese. And I love Point Reyes Creamery, and I love this cheese, but it's hard, even with a big beer like this, to...
Yeah, I agree.
But then again, I'm going back in for more to see exactly how I can get around this, if I can. Cheese, food, a cigar. Treat it just like you would beer, wine, or spirits. You can't take 3 sips of any of those things, but your first bite is going to be intense.
Yeah.
Your second bite, you can't really open your palate, but your palate will become more used to it.
Okay.
And then, not dulled necessarily, but it'll become used to it, and so I think it will become more enjoyable. So Even though I know you're digging this cheese, take a couple more bites of that and try it with the beer and see what you think.
Okay.
See, now I'm getting after that first shock, the scalding of my tongue, the cheese is a little subtler, and I'm getting more of the chocolate notes that I got with the first cheese.
Okay.
And, you know, when I'm saying scalding of my tongue and this and that, it's just this really sharp. It's not like your tongue's burning. It's just this really sharp flavor you're getting on top of your taste buds on the front of your palate.
Right.
And it's really extreme.
I can feel it in my nose too.
Yeah,
it is
it's
almost a
big.
burn, you know.
And I think it's much more enjoyable after the first bite. You may or may not agree, but
I got to take another bite.
yeah, that's what I like to see.
It almost got a little sweeter the second time.
Yes, that's because now you've had the interplay of the beer on your palate and the cheese. And so now the pairing is coming more full circle and it's becoming much more of a meshing instead of just the cheese and then getting through the cheese to the beer.
Yeah.
And that. See how they kind of
It's
meld
kind
together?
of yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're
that's
totally
good.
right.
And so that's how you have to do it. And you have to take that into consideration if you're doing a dinner or if you're doing things for a bunch of people, what you would use. I probably wouldn't use the Point Reyes Blue right off the bat because everybody would have the same assumption you did right away, which is, oh my God, this will never pair. But if I cut 4 portions of it and gave them 4 tastes of this beer, and by the 4th tasting, I would have them converted.
Well, I'm eager to try this chocolate
Me too.
cupcake.
So let's see here. Let me grab my trusty cheese knife, which will be a cupcake knife in this case, and do that kind of thing. There we go.
I don't know how to approach this. I'm just going to dig in.
Yeah, just grab it. I am going to cleanse my palate with beer first before I go with chocolate so you don't have the cheese on it.
Get that burn.
It's good.
That is good.
And now it's all about just a hint of coffee, and it's all about chocolate now. Chocolate in the beer comes through and just plays and plays.
Perfect. It goes good with the cheese. Goes great with this freaking cupcake.
Yeah. It's just delicious all the way around.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That's an understatement, by the way.
So the next time you have blue cheese or chocolate, you're going to think stout?
Like I said, the first time I had it, AleSmith Stone lunch, when we did the double bastard episode.
Oh, at my AleSmith Brewmaster's
with
lunch.
the chocolate bacon.
Yeah, chocolate
Tort.
bacon tort.
Excellent.
Yes.
First time, and it blew my mind because I looked at it and I go, no way. There's no way I'm going to like that. And now look at me now.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Well, I think this has been a hugely successful master pairings with Dr. Bill. So I want to say thank you and
Cheers.
see you next time.
Boom.
What are we going to be pairing this with? Something that will make Dr. Bill cringe, perhaps.
Well, no, we kind of threw it together. I mean, we don't have a lot of smoked meats on the regular menu, but cheese goes well with everything,
Yes.
right? So,
I would assume this blue cheese.
Yeah,
it's a
blue
Stilton.
cheese is that's still going to pair really
It's
well
going
with
to pair
that.
really well with it. We have a brie. We also have an elderberry and wine infused cheddar, aged cheddar, easy for me to say, obviously.
That looks really good.
Like a chèvre goat cheese.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, as we just saw in the AleSmith, we paired that with a strong blue cheese. Like it wasn't a Stilton, it was a. Well, you remember, I don't. So that'll work really well with this. But I say dig in, quite frankly. So.
Let's do it.
Now the wine-infused cheddar, I have to imagine is going to kind of clash with this a little bit. But I still want to try it because it looks amazing.
It does.
Now, is this your standard cheese plate here?
Oh wow, that's good.
this is our standard cheese plate. We do also do this in a larger size, believe it or not. This is a small cheese plate.
Oh, okay.
With the same cheeses.
Apparently, the man does not know about my affinity for cheese.
Yeah, the blue's it's a really mild blue, and it doesn't really
Not like
burn.
burning the tongue.
Yeah, it goes really well. Because the beer does not, in fact,
It goes
burn on the
really
tongue
well
either.
with this.
Yeah.
This goat cheese it's like a little ball of goat cheese. That's awesome.
It's a ball of joy.
Isn't it? Oh, wow.
It is a ball of joy.
My balls are
Cheese is
joyous.
great. I like the Shepherd Goat because it's a drier goat cheese. It's not super creamy.
Yeah, it's not real
creamy, but it's
sweet.
not liquidy. And
Yeah.
It's just I'm a consistency person as well. So
That's good.
It almost tastes like a cream cheese, you know, like,
Yeah, exactly.
you know what I mean?
It's got that creaminess and it's got a little bit of the sweet, but it's not overpowering.
It's good.
This is it's purple. This is purple cheese. I'm eating purple cheese right now. I've
Purple.
never eaten purple cheese, and it frightens me a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try it with the purpleness.
good.
You know? Pardon my fingers.
That has a lot of flavor to it.
The cheddar.
The cheddar does?
Elderberry infused.
Yeah, it's like
Oh, it smells
wow.
really good.
Like I'm getting a couple of different things happening right now. It's interesting. It's like you get the cheese qualities to it, but then there's like this almost like a buttery sweetness that comes along with it.
That's really, really good. It's almost a dessert cheese.
Yeah,
Definitely.
It's like you mixed cake frosting with cheese.
Yeah, it tastes like
Yeah.
cake frosting. That is crazy.
And I wonder if that's partly the goat cheese that's mixing in with it a little bit.
Could be.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's good.
This cheese, I think this goes pretty well with the beer. I mean, considering how sweet it is.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it does contrast the beer nicely, and so you gotta get a wide range of flavors going on in your mouth.
It's not your normal cheddar tasting cheese because
Right.
it does taste like frosting.
Ivan, thank you very much for taking some time and sitting with us and letting us come into your bar. And
Awesome beer.
yeah,
Good
you guys,
job.
It's my pleasure.
Great.
You guys are doing the craft beer world a service, and we thank you for that. And so if you're in the area, if you're in San Diego, definitely come to Churchill's. Obviously, if you live in San Diego, I'm sure you've been here before, but come again because this place rocks. If you're not from San Diego, it's very easy flights in. Come on over. So we'd love to see you. But as always, stay safe.
Drink beer.
Cheers.
Cheers.